We are live. Yes, indeed. Welcome to the show, everybody. It is Monday. It is the 30th of September. It is 6:30 p.m. sharp. And guess who is back? It is me. It is D. D to the spot. Rocking it here on D Spot for a Churros y Táctica session. I've gone live on the good old D Spot channel, but this is a churro special. Yes, indeed. Make no mistake, it might seem like a good old solo sesh, and it will be initially like that. However, Kian will send his response imminently right after I will finish recording this, call it part one of today's churros. I will send it over to Kian Sobani, and he will make sure that he gets his wide in sideways if he has to. As I invite all of you to get comfortable, get out a drink, why not? If you can, if you will. It is Monday. My preferred beverage of choice is some nice cold, refreshing water. Always good. Hits the spine. Hope you appreciate the backdrop. I'm working a little bit on the setting here. I say working a little bit. I did put it together. However, it is the taste. This is the doing of my wife, I should say. The great taste of the interior design and eyes of my better half. I think it's looking pretty neat. Without any further ado, we're going to get into the thick of things nice and quickly because I need to get this over to Kian. The reason why we're doing this, it's a public holiday in Canada, so it seems happy public holiday in Canada Day for all of those of you joining us from over there, the North America region. And so he's got the kids with him, and they do not leave him in peace. He cannot there's no plate spinning when it comes to these kind of things for Kian. So drop in your likes. I see I'm being joined by some of the D-Spot faithful. Welcome. Once again, we're here to discuss everything that happened over in El Sadar, mainly. Of course, we'll touch upon some things that happened over at the Wanda Metropolitano as well. And you might have checked this out. Noticed nice little shirt, t-shirt. The old t-shirt. Guess who it is? My son got it immediately. And with that, he won a prize as well of a couple of more of these t-shirts. The good folks from Moji Mates, moji-mates.com. Thank you so much for your generosity. You and your missus doing such a great job. Here we go, old school Samueto. You have Johan Cruyff here with the braceleta numero 9. Make no mistake, Johan wore 9, not 14. 14 was his Ajax days and his Holland days for the national side. And of course, this one here, still in the plastic. I just got home from work and found the package in the mail, or having been delivered rather. Ronaldinho with the number 10. Awesome t-shirts. Again, thank you to the good folks from mojimates.com. Go check it out. I'm gonna make sure that Kian adds the link to mojimates.com. You guys can make use of a discount code, 15% off on all your orders of these awesome t-shirts. And quite frankly, they're sick. I mean, look at even the blue. Love this blue. Albiceleste, the reminder of a little hint of the Argentinian heritage roots of Diego Maradona while supporting the Barça shirt. 1982, this one, of course, the year that he landed at Fútbol Club Barcelona to send the footballing world by storm, albeit for such far too short of a time. Let's go. Through which he was injured, of course, for a large part as well. But this one, we're not here to talk about the history of my beloved Barça, at least not the long-term history. We're not going that far back. We're going to rewind the tape, though, because I do want to touch upon the Champions League clash that is coming up, of course, tomorrow. It's the Young Boys. The Young Boys are coming to town from the Schweiz. The Junge Junges. Young Boys from Bern, the defending champions. Here's something crazy. Didn't know this, but found out they have won the last 6 of the 7. So 6 of the last 7 Swiss Super League titles have fallen to Young Boys. I say I'm surprised I didn't know this because currently they are penultimate in the league standings. Can you believe it? Second from last. It's been not a great start to the season for the defending champions as they take to the European stage in what is of course round 2 or match day 2 of the league phase. They've lost to Aston Villa in their game 1, and well, that suits us down to the ground, you could say, seeing as Barça has also got some amends to make in the top European competition following the loss against Monaco. And tomorrow is just the perfect occasion to do so against definitely one of the more, ¿cómo se dice? Rivales asequibles, one of the more favorable opponents we have in the league phase before we face Bayern next. I mean, we're getting now ahead of ourselves. That is the end of October, the 23rd, I believe it is. Barça, Bayern Munich before the Clásico on the 26th. But like I said, I'm skipping the whole month of October before we still have stuff to talk about that took place over the weekend in El Sadar, the 4-2 loss. But this month of October, it's going to be a good one, despite the fact that we, of course, are going through another international break, which will put the domestic competition and the European one, for that matter, on hold. Enfin, shall we rip the Band-Aid off? I've been going now for a good 7 minutes, and I want to keep it short and snappy. I think I've been dancing around the fire for long enough now. Time to talk about this always interesting Osasuna-Barça clash. I say always interesting. El Sadar traditionally, historically, has been a ground that for all big teams, LaLiga teams, it's a tough place to pick up points in. It's been quite a fortress, not as much maybe as a couple seasons ago, but El Sadar, always a tough ground, hostile atmosphere, and just a very good worked, Basque side that love their grit grind type of style of football. And this one was highly entertaining. And I'll say right off the bat, Barça, we didn't deserve to win this one. Despite the obvious adversities, challenges that we faced heading into this match, and by that I mean the heavy rotations. This game was conditioned from the get-go, really, because of this insane footballing schedule. Of course, Hansi Flick was obliged to rotate some of our heavier used players with more minutes, and he decided to do so ahead of this game against the side from Pamplona, and you have to respect that. I mean, look, we still had several key players out on the field. This is not, by that I mean to say, this is not an excuse I'm putting forward, by any stretch of the imagination. But the fact of the matter is that we had Lamine Yamal out, Rafinha was out, Inigo Martinez, Alejandro Balde in the back as well. So heavy rotations, not to also add to the fact that we still have many key players injured, of course, that remain unavailable. Knock on wood, great news that Frankie will make his return, hopefully a successful one, a healthy one above all, as the Dutchman is nearing the end of his recovery process. So, all that being said, Osasuna came out the way you expect them to come out, at home in front of their fans. They were fired up. It was all guns blazing, and in the first 45 minutes, for me, the game was done and dusted in the first 45 minutes, in the first half. I have little to nothing to say about the 1-0. Again, mind you, I need to give a shout out to Brian Zaragoza, as well as Budimir, old man Budimir, who's been in football, professional football, LaLiga, for such a long time for so many teams, and he's es una garantía. He's a guarantee for goals, and likes the big man likes to score against Barça as well. He's got a hefty track record. But man, was Brian Zaragoza. That dude was playing inspired football. Just very dangerous in the build-up already of the first goal in the opening 20 minutes. There was not a whole lot to being said in those early minutes, other than the fact that Osasuna looked like the hungrier team right from the get-go, right from the beginning. This would have, early on, kind of gave a sense that this was going to be a match rather, where I was able to see the team drop some points. Again, for the reasons that I mentioned, right? The rotations, the scenario, the stage, the way that these players came out as well. They just looked hungry. They so far, I think Barça has been a team that we can categorize as very aggressive in the way they applied the high press, and the way that it dominated possession and made use of that possession as well. And the same couldn't be said for what we saw in the opening first half against Osasuna. Osasuna, on the other hand, immediately made the best use of the possession that they had. Scored a brilliant opening goal from the left flank. Zaragoza with a great assist to Budimir, and caught Barça's defense, just not being as attentive as they could have been or should have been in order to clear that ball, get their head first to the ball. But nothing I'm going to take away again from that 1-0 that broke the deadlock. However, and here we get into some more sensitive or controversial topic. I say controversial, although, based from what I've seen online, what I've been as well, reading in the papers, and I think there's a general consensus that Barça got done by very harshly. They did us dirty once again. There's no other way to say it. Once again, we were on the shit out of a stick when it came to a decision in the build-up and the lead-up to the 2-0, where Brian Zaragoza, again, the man was everywhere, playing like a man possessed, but did unintentionally foul Pau Victor when he dispossessed the Barça player, and set himself up for an absolute emphatic finish. That goal, sent a dagger through the hearts of me, at least, of Barça fans watching. It just felt like that was going to shift the momentum permanently for the remainder of the match. It was just like it looked like it was going to be a mountain too high to climb for Barça to get ourselves out of this one, at least with the 3 points. You can still argue, that we had an entire 45 minutes left to play, and that is true, and we did make a valiant comeback. I think our response was even good for that matter. And I didn't see the foul. I just threw my hands in the air when Brian Zaragoza scored, walked around Iñaki Peña, beautiful step over, and slotted that elegantly into the back of the net. And, applause. But when in the repetition I see that the Osasuna forward stomped Pau in the process, even the commentators were saying, well, they're going to review that. They're going to call that one back, and this will be reviewed. And I was thinking, yeah, of course, because how many match days ago, how many weekends ago was it when Jules Koundé got called for the exact same thing in the lead up to a goal that Barça scored on that occasion, even much later, right? Perhaps a minute is a little bit exaggerated, but certainly 40, 50 seconds later was it when Barça scored that goal that was eventually disallowed because of a Rafinha involuntary stomp as well. It's exactly the same situation, right? VAR comes into play, referee rewinds the tape, sees the stomp, calls the goal off. Okay. well, if we're gonna do this, if we're gonna do that, and yes, I know that there are more examples. There's the Courtois Betis stomp that also didn't get called. So why the inconsistencies? I know that Kian is probably listening to this, saying out loud, referees suck for everyone, but they suck more for some than for others. That's just undeniable once again as this season currently gets underway. It's match day after match day. There's controversy after controversy, and it drives me absolutely mad. It drives me up the wall. It drives me up the freaking wall. Consistency, referees, man. If you're gonna call stomps, call them for everyone. If you're not gonna call them, and you can stand, I don't even know where I generally stand, whether I'm in favor for these types of goals being annulled, being canceled. All I want is consistency. If we're gonna do it, then do it for everyone all the time. But this was just absolute 100 BS, and it drives me mad. It drives me mad. Great finish. Brian Zaragoza played the lights out. The kid was inspired. I didn't know he was good friends, or seemingly good friends, with some of the youngsters in the Barça dugouts. Players there were very friendly, chopping it up. And when he plays like that, he's a joy to watch. I see Brian Zaragoza mainly just twice a year, but every time I do, I take something very positive away from this player. He's so talented, so gifted, and this cool, calm finish was a thing of beauty. But unfortunately, it should have been canceled. I say unfortunately, it wasn't canceled. It should have been in our case because it was a foul, a blatant one. All right, good folks. By the way, some of you Patreon loyals, patreon.com/churros y tácticas. And the reason we didn't put out an episode on Friday, I have been sick. No, lo siguiente, next level sick. Last week, all of last week, I was out. Didn't even get to go to Barça 1 to present the news. 39 fever for 5 days straight. Influenza B ain't nothing to mess with. Don't F with it. I suffered through it, and I'm still suffering through it. Not 100%, but at least the fever is under control. I say all this because I have to save my voice. My throat is still on fire. It hurts ever so much. So I'm not here to, looking for pity or anything. But I do want to. I want to make this as brief as possible. Get to the point, because tomorrow is a big day. I'm gonna be doing the news and the game in the evening. Make sure that you, good folks, subscribe, of course, to Barça 1 to check out all of the daily content that we put out. But I've got the pleasure, besides presenting the news, to also call the game tomorrow. So I need to save the voice. This is gold here, audio gold. What else? So that for me really kind of conditioned the rest of the game, man. What from there on, what can I say? It was already clear that this was going to be an uphill struggle. It was already clear that Osasuna came out determined to make life difficult, something that they do, repeatedly, especially on their home ground. I kind of felt like, that's it. There is no way out. It is going to be that kind of a game where, again, I was pleased with the reaction in the second half. I can't say that I wasn't. Already early in the second half, Pau Victor, the victim of the Brian Zaragoza stomp, puts in the 2-1, kind of giving Barça a lifeline. That was an absolute shocker. You have to say that Herrera would have been wondering what exactly happened there. He basically running. He's running back. It's a bad pass. It's intercepted. He's with his back towards goal. And, we've seen shockers like that happen in the past. It's one of those. It could have been worse, in all honesty. But obviously, Pau Victor doesn't get a whole lot of power behind that shot. It's all placement, accuracy, at an awkward angle near, at the near post, in fact, for Herrera, who then falling back, just, he shits it. I mean, he shites it. Ball rolls over the goal line. It's a lifeline for Barça. It's 2-1 at that point. And it's a game. All of a sudden, it's a game until the penalty, right? Until the 70th, what is it? 72nd, yes, minute, where Osasuna get a penalty call. Also here, I've nothing to say about the penalty itself. Clear penalty. Unfortunate one for Dominguez to kind of slide in up on behind. I think it's Zaragoza, as a matter of fact, that provokes that penalty as well. So I mean, again, what a game from Zaragoza. I think it's him. I might be mistaken, but of course Budimir does the honors as he gets his brace on that occasion, and I say, look, where's my pickles? Because I felt that Lamine Yamal should have gotten a penalty as well. And again, to draw parallels with our friendly neighbors from the nation capital, Real Madrid, where Endrick, I think it was, yes, it is Endrick, that gets tugged even outside of the penalty box to then eventually land halfway in it and force a penalty call. Why, when Lamine Yamal gets manhandled and falls to the ground in a play where the refereeing committee actually publicly have come out and warned players, warned teams, warned coaches, said any grab within the area, any tuck of the shirt, any grabbing will be deemed a foul and be rewarded or punished, rather, with a penalty. It didn't happen on this occasion. Double standards, it drives one mad. It makes me more gray by the passing of each single match day. It is what it is. But 3-1 with a little bit over 15 minutes left to play, and eventually, of course, the fourth dagger, or even there, Bretones, beautiful steal, dispossesses Lamine Yamal and takes it on his first shot. I mean, an absolute beauty of a goal. But also here, and you hate to do it. Much better job at these kind of plays, pointing out the hypocrisies, pointing out the injustices. But here we see a brilliant shot, but who is completely impeding the vision of an Iñaki Peña? It's this good man over here. And how many times in other occasions have we seen the referee call for, como le llaman, un fuera de juego provisional, like a provisional offside, I believe it's called. And my friend here, Beta Verso, does an excellent job at pointing out these hypocrisies. All you Barça fans, make sure that you give this good man a follow. He's on the right side of the debate, on the right side of the battle, as we continue to point things out, where if you're wearing certain colors, a referee will call that an offside situation where the player is in an offside position, impeding the field of vision of the goalkeeper, and they'll disallow the goal. And in other situations, they will allow it to stand and play to continue, right? At that point, it's late in the game. Lamine Yamal still has a little bit of inspiration and time left to, of course, put in a beautiful goal of his own, to put his goal tally up to what is it, 5 goals now? 4 goals? Here we go. 4 goals for Lamine with 5 assists. Rafinha, goal production of 9. Rafinha, 5 and 3, goal production of 8. And Robert Lewandowski with 7 and 2, goal production of 9 as well. The Barça forwards are just, level above the forwards of the other teams competing in the league at the moment. 21 points. Luckily, we can still, breathe a sigh of relief and talk about having lost only 1 point ground with the second place team, Real Madrid, because of what happened in the Wanda Metropolitano, of course. And, my goodness. Should we touch a little bit about on what happened over there in the Madrid derby? It was another feisty affair. Unfortunate that we had to witness some of the scenes that we did. Some of the, of course, radical behaviors is something that we don't want to see in football. It has no place here. The aggression that Courtois was exposed to is something that you don't want to see. However, there's absolutely no doubt that Courtois was also provoking the fans in, you know, in not behaving in that kind of way, but certainly the fact that he was, que se estaba encarando, that he was kind of taunting them. We saw images now after Militao scored the goal of Courtois basically running back to the crowd, giving them a couple of, these kind of fist bumps, hand gestures, laughing at them, taunting them by doing this sort of things. That's when it started to rain objects, of course, and the Belgian goalkeeper took it upon himself to pick up a few lighters and show the referee, and that is, of course, when the game got suspended, rightfully so. As I said, there's no place in football for that kind of behavior from the crowd, but neither from the goalkeeper. Whether his name is Courtois, whether his name is Vinicius, whether his name is Andres Iniesta, Leo Messi, Neymar, or whoever it is, the players shouldn't be taking it upon themselves to lure especially the radical fans, to that kind of extremes. Invite them to do that. That's just not smart thinking. If you're a professional, mature player, you want to stay away from that. And there's no doubt in my mind that Atlético de Madrid is going to get fined for having thrown objects onto the field, and they should get fined. But the rules and laws of the game of football clearly stipulate that players cannot provoke and taunt the fans neither. So we'll have to wait and see whether Courtois will also face some punishment, some form of ramification from having again, I don't, for lack of a better word, provoked, or for having what's the word I'm looking for? Having faced off against the fans. Again, the images are there. Let me see if I can pull it up. I'm sure Madu Beta will have something on his timeline, but that, you just want to avoid that. So we'll see what happens there. The derby itself. Well, look, I mean, what sucks is, if you're a colchonero, is that you receive the 1-0 after a foul is called on Vinicius. Mind you, an absolute dive. Again, here, Kian, I hope that you're on my side here to see that Vinicius didn't get touched whatsoever. In fact, who's the one that takes him down, that provokes the foul? Lenormand, I think it is, right? He picks up a yellow card as well. Therefore, he's conditioned for the rest of the match. Doesn't touch Vinny. Vinny falls down. Something we are seeing quite a bit as well this season. This kind of flopping phenomenon from basketball, or piscinazos in football terms. We see it. It's on the rise, I would say, this season. Referees are very lenient with it, and even punishing opponents when not touching other players with yellow cards. It happened in that play. Of course, Madrid managed to capitalize on that situation. Militao with an excellent finish, a great shot. But, of course, very difficult for the Colchoneros to accept conceding a goal like that when there wasn't even a foul to begin with. On top of that, their player gets conditioned for the remainder of the game for receiving in yellow. And on top of that, you have then Courtois dancing and laughing in your face. Again, I'm not justifying the throwing of objects towards the Belgian goalkeeper. I repeat, that has no place in football. But I don't neither, in that same breath, understand why Courtois would want to milk that situation and make fun of and bring that kind of hatred upon himself by behaving in that kind of way. I just don't get it, and there's no justifying that. So anyway, in the end, I'm happy that they equalized in dramatic fashion. Luckily, they were able to finish that game. Of course, they first have to cancel the goal. upon review, it was, of course, the correct call. And oh man, my throat is burning. It was, of course, the correct call. No offside, and Correa just with the winner at the buzzer. And I mean, shit, I was celebrating that. I don't know how anybody wouldn't be able to celebrate that. I know certain people are making fun of Atletico, of Colchoneros, of celebrating a draw. But hey, anytime you're able to manage to, knock off 2 points of Real Madrid, and more importantly, win a point yourself as well, after they've tried to cancel out your goal, after they have also given a goal or given a foul in a play that wasn't even a foul to begin with. You have to celebrate that, and especially in the last minute. So it was one of those typical Madrid derbies. And mind you, by the way, images as well show Fede Valverde calling hijo de puta to the referee after he then rules the goal legal onside for Atletico de Madrid. But we don't expect the Uruguayan midfielder to, get apprehended for this neither, even though the images are there. The images are there, folks. It is what it is. A point each, and Barça still league leaders with 3 points. Up next in the league is Alaves. That's on Saturday or Sunday, I think it is. It's an early kickoff, 4:15 tomorrow. Young boys, the Jungs, the young boys coming to town, ja, sehr gut. Das habe ich gerne. Ach du Scheiße, das sind die Jungs, oder? The young boys.
Give that beat.
All right. Let's hope for, I want Barça to put the name on the map here in tomorrow's game. Tomorrow, it's gonna be it's gotta be one of those wins where we see a couple of players shine. Hopefully, Ansu Fati can get minutes now that he's been back with the squad. Maybe Frenkie can pick up a minute or 2 or 20 and get some first touches, good first touches. For Hansi Flick's squad this season. Hasn't been playing since like April. So I'm looking forward to this one. And that is it. 33 minutes. Diego Maradona of MojiMates.com is going to sign off. Make sure that you check out the link below. All of you Churros listeners are privy to a 15% discount on these awesome t-shirts. The good folks from Moji Mates, thank you. I'm going to love it this one. I'm loving this. Genius. All right, folks. That is Churros for today. Again, thank you for staying loyal. Thank you for being patient as well. Excuse the illnesses. The kids are back in school, and I get hit with influenza B. What am I going to do? I was out. We will be back this week, hopefully together, the duo, the most underrated duo in sports podcasting. Kian, Diego, Churros y Tácticas. We are out. Peace. And of course, stay tuned for Kian's reply, which is coming after this one. Peace out, good folks.